Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Northampton Township Board of Supervisors meeting. It is Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Tonight, I'd like you to consider the people that lost their lives in those horrific fires in California, and also keep the first responders out there in your thoughts. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we get started, I just want to make a comment. There's two opportunities for public comment this evening. The first opportunity is for agenda items only. There's a sign-up sheet in the back. If you'd like to speak on any of the agenda items, please feel free to sign the sheet in the back, and I will recognize you up to the microphone. There's a second opportunity at the end of the meeting, which is not limited to agenda items. It's an open opportunity to speak to the board. And there's a second sign-up sheet for that, and if you'd like to do that, please sign up there, and I'll recognize you at the end of the meeting and call you to the microphone. So first up tonight, we have a special presentation, one of those bittersweet presentations, someone that's been here for a long time, that's been a volunteer a long time. We're going to recognize Marty Wade, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Rose.
Marty, if you would come up here.
You guys want to come down?
I know. Well, first of all, I've had the pleasure of working with Marty for 13 years. You know what? He is somebody who totally cares for our community. He is my mentor and my friend. And he is a friend to all of Northampton Township. Now, before I read the proclamation, I wanted to talk about the Marty I know. Marty first got involved with our community when there was a carbon monoxide scare in his neighborhood. Marty stepped up and became the spokesperson for his neighbors. For 35 years, he has used his knowledge, skills, and expertise to help others improve their lives. He has had a real passion for helping others. Besides his work with Park and Rec, Marty has even helped with zoning. Using his engineering expertise, Marty has helped residents in need, people who could not afford to hire an engineer to design handicap ramps so disabled residents could get into their houses safely. All pro bono. Marty has always been there to help. I don't think I've ever heard him say no to anyone who needed help. His world revolves around his wife, Gail, who is an awesome stained glass artist, his children, and his beloved grandchildren. Northampton Township is blessed to have had him on our board for the past 35 years. Now I'd like to read this certificate of recognition. Whereas Marty Wade, a 40-year resident of Northampton Township, has dedicated his time, expertise, and passion to enrich the residents of the community. He has served on the Park and Rec Board for 35 years. He has dedicated countless hours, lending his engineering expertise and passion for the Northampton Township community to assist in the transformation of the former Free Library of Northampton to the Northampton Township Recreation Center, including the 2001 renovation, adding a gymnasium and additional classrooms, the construction of Big Meadow ball fields, and the redesign of Civic Center ball fields. Marty Wade was instrumental in the acquisition and development of NAWC lands, now known as the Municipal Park, and 39 acres, and the development of the agreement with Council Rock School District to program and schedule the Maureen M. Welch Elementary School. Marty's involvement in the development of the local sports organizations helped bring recreational sports to Northampton, provided the children of Northampton with decades of coaching, passing along his passion for soccer to his children and now grandchildren. The Board of Supervisors of Northampton Township wishes to acknowledge the selfless contributions made by Martin J. Wade to the Northampton community to recognize his commitment to improving the lives of others. Therefore, on this day, the 22nd day of January 2025, the Board of Supervisors of Northampton Township hereby gratefully acknowledge the contributions made by Martin J. Wade to the Northampton Township community and for the support of local sports organizations and to the Northampton Township's Park and Rec Board.
I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors for this honor, and also my fellow board members, and especially my family. Thank you very much.
Go in the middle with us.
Yeah, we can get a picture too.
Yes, Gail, come in. Gail should be in the picture.
Turn your proclamation. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Russ, we're just going to get the microphone back. Okay, we're going to move on to public comment, and we have one request. Russ Walton? Hi, Russ, you're a resident of Northampton?
I am a resident of Northampton. I live on Spencer. I won't call it road anymore. I'll call it Spencer Highway. It's not a joke, but I'm happy to see that there is an ordinance being looked at for the stop sign. We moved here in '99. It was kind of a sleepy country suburban type road. It's now a major highway and a cut through for Northampton Township. I think it was probably my wife this summer on a daily basis was calling the police department because of the speeds. The signs came out and, they've kind of monitored the traffic. And I think that's based on those results is what's here. And I'd like to thank you for doing that. And hopefully this will save lives because there's a bus stop right there at that corner. You have school children coming up from the school down the street there, and I think it's very important, and would like to thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your comments. Thank you. We'll move on to consent items. First off, approval of minutes. Paula?
Mr. Chairman, if there are no objections, I request that the minutes from December 11 be approved by unanimous consent.
Thanks, Paul. Is there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Accounts payable. Kim?
Yes, I have the bills list for December 19th, 2024. Total all funds, $494,287.45. And then I have the bills list for January 15th, 2025. Total all funds, $1,796,663.52.
Is there any questions? If not, I'll accept a motion to accept the consent items as presented.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
Are there any comments from anybody? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. This time, I'd like to open a public hearing to consider an ordinance to amend the Township Code for motor vehicle traffic to add a stop sign at Spencer and Grenoble. Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This ordinance was properly advertised in advance of today and posted on the Township website. If I may make a motion?
Please.
I move to approve ordinance number 622, amending the Northampton Township Code, specifically Chapter 15, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Part 2, for the purpose of adding a stop intersection on both the northbound and southbound approaches of Spencer Road at its intersection with Grenoble Road.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Bob?
I can't say it better than public comment that it's a safety issue, and I think it's long overdue.
Sure. Kim?
I think it's a great idea.
Paula?
Another great thing we do, yes.
Barry?
Yeah, great thing. I frequently go down to Rainbow Academy with my grandkids, and it is a very dangerous intersection right there. So this is certainly a safety measure that needs to get done, so fully support it.
I just want to thank you for speaking up and speaking out. I think the board does appreciate comments, and there are sometimes that there's things that happen that we don't see or know about, and this is the way to get things done. So thank you for everybody down there for stepping up for everybody's safety. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And next, I lost my voice somewhere between that door and coming to sit here. I don't know what happened. New business. First up, final plan of land development for JQ Investments. Barry?
Sure. Will the applicant please come up? Maybe take a moment just to introduce yourselves, and
Sure.
then
Good evening, I'm Ed Murphy. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, and John Genovese, project engineer, is with me to my left.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So this property is a property right on Almshouse Road. It's right across from the Spread Eagle Inn. It's been a property that's been vacant for a long period of time. It's about 250 feet west of the intersection of 2nd Street Pike, and they're proposing to build a building that's 935 square feet to be used for professional or for personal services.
Correct.
The acre is just about a quarter acre of land, and it'll have public water and public sewer on it. This is part of the Village Overlay District, which does permit retail stores, businesses, personal and professional offices by right on lots having a minimum area of 15,000.
Right.
So with a lot with the 75 feet. This applicant's been before the Zoning Hearing Board, before the Planning Commission, and also has been reviewed by all our various agencies. Maybe if you could just take a minute just to give us a brief overview of the project and your plans with it, and then we'll go to the motion.
Sure. And your summary to that point is accurate. We've been pursuing the plans for almost 2 years now. Most recently, as Mr. Moore indicated, we did meet with your zoning hearing board and got relief earlier last year. Most recently, we met with your planning commission. We had gotten an initial round of review letters from the consultants. We elected, after the planning commission meeting in October, to revise and resubmit the plans to address the majority of the review comments. We've now reached a point where we think we've done that. The most recent round of review letters are all will comply type things. We've talked to Mr. Carr about it. There are a couple lingering issues, but we've agreed on how we're going to manage those, so all of those should be fine. All will complies. You're right, it's a small building on a smaller lot. It's only a 935 square foot footprint, 2 floors, but
Sure, yeah.
and everything else is in good shape, comply, and ready to move forward, and we're anxious to build the building as soon as the weather permits.
Good, yeah, be good. So if I can make a motion, Adam, please? So I move for preliminary final land development approval of the JQ Investments Land Development SLD 24-1 located at 27 Almshouse Road, subject to compliance with the Township Engineer Review Letter dated December 9th, 2024. It is also recommended that the requested waivers be granted. Approval also subject to the following conditions. The applicant shall enter into a land development and escrow agreement in a form acceptable to the township solicitor and engineer. This shall include stormwater management, maintenance, and operations agreement. And I understand there's some modifications to the stormwater management that we'll have to work out.
Correct.
A park and recreation impact fee in the amount of $3,486.35 is required. The fee shall be payable per the terms of the land development agreement. The township shall have final review and approval of the building architectural renderings to ensure compliance with the village overlay district requirements.
Correct.
Deliveries to the site are prohibited during the hours of operation to prevent conflicts with employees and customer parking due to the small size of the lot. And the applicant is responsible for obtaining any outside approvals that may be necessary, including but not limited to the DEP, the Conservation District, PennDOT, and the Municipal Authority. Further, approval is granted for submission of any documents that may be required as part of the sewage facilities planning.
Applicant would accept all those conditions.
Very good.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Barry, any further comment?
No, the only thing I would add is that I did see the plan and went through all the minutes and the presentations of the zoning hearing board and planning commission. And to be honest, quite honestly, I'm very happy that the site is being developed. There was a historical building there years ago that was destroyed in a fire, but now this site's going to be developed, bringing business to our community again. So it's going to I fully support it.
I think it's great.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Glad to see it developed as well.
Yeah,
Best of luck.
same here. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Next up, another final land development plan for Axial Medical. Barry? up to you.
Sure, thank you. Would the applicant please come to the table?
Yeah, I'm still Ed Murphy.
Are you really? Can you prove
This
that?
time I have a different engineer. We have Justin Gennady to my left from Dynamic Engineering. He's the engineer for the project.
Okay, so this is in our Business and Technology Center. This property is at 65 Richard Road. It's within the District I-1 Planned Industrial Office District. And the applicant is proposing to construct, in addition to a building, of 1,933 square feet to the rear of the building, existing structure. The subject property contains 2.28 acres of land, and there's no impervious surface ratio increases required here. And the applicant proposes to handle stormwater management by planting new trees, which are non-structural BMPs.
Right.
The property is currently being serviced by public water and sewer connections, and variances were approved related to building coverage and number of parking spaces. And once again, this applicant has gone through all the various zoning hearing board, planning commission, and has gotten all approvals, and also has certain letters done by our engineers signing off on everything.
Correct. And I would probably offer the same summary in addition to what Mr. Moore said as the last applicant. This is the building that's outlined on the screen is entirely devoted to storage. It is being built on top of an existing macadam area. That's why there's no increase in impervious. The site, as Mr. Moore indicated, will be managed stormwater-wise by adding additional trees, but it's a long-term business in the business commons. They want to stay. They need storage space. They want to take more space inside that exists to devote to the business and create the additional storage in that building solely for storage. So all good. It's a stable, long-term business in the township, and they want to stay. So.
Good with that, Adam, if I can make a
Sure,
motion? I move for preliminary final land development approval of the Axial Medical Land Development SLD 24-4, subject to compliance with the Township Engineers Review Letter dated January 3rd, 2025, and the Township Traffic Engineers Review Letter dated January 3rd, 2025. It is also recommended that requested waivers be granted, and approval is subject to the following conditions, which I shall read. The applicant shall enter into a land development agreement and escrow agreement in a form acceptable to the township solicitor and engineer. This shall include a stormwater management, maintenance, and operations agreement. A parking recreational impact fee in the amount of $3,712 is required. This fee shall be payable per the terms of the land development agreement. A fee in lieu of sidewalks is required in the amount of $10,765 as calculated by the township engineer. This fee shall be payable per the terms of the land development agreement. And the applicant is responsible for obtaining any outside approvals that may be necessary, including but not limited to DEP, the Conservation District, PennDOT, the Municipal Authority. Further, approval is granted for submission of any documents that may be required as part of the sewage facilities planning process.
Those conditions are acceptable to the applicant.
So once again, this is, as the applicant has indicated, this is in addition to a pre-existing structure. The applicant is a well-established business in town, and this is another business owner who's expanding their space in our Business Technology Center, which is very positive, and stabilizing jobs, things like that. So I would fully support this applicant too.
Okay, I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Paula, any comments?
Yeah, it's a done deal. Good.
Kim?
I think it sounds great.
Bob?
Nothing to add.
Nothing further from me. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Good luck out there.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Thank you for staying in town.
Yep.
Next, we have consider the ratification of the Public Works collective bargaining agreement. That's going to be Bob, and I know we have a couple of representatives. Do you want to stay in the audience, or would you like to come to the table? It's up to you. From the Public Works. You guys are okay? Good? You don't have to put the camera on them? Thank you. Hi, Eric. Hi, Mike.
Okay.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you. I'm pleased to announce the administration has reached a tentative settlement on a new 5-year public work development, or department, collective bargaining agreement with the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 542C. So if I may make a motion?
Please.
I move to ratify the terms and conditions of a new Public Works Department collective bargaining agreement as negotiated and recommended by the administration with the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 542-C, with a retroactive term effective March 1, 2024, and expiring February 28, 2029.
I second it.
All right. Is there any discussion? Anything further, Bob?
No, we were all made familiar with the terms, and I think they seemed reasonable to both sides, and I'm glad to see we could come together and get this done.
It looks excellent.
It all looks good. I do want to say that the Public Works guys, girls, have done such a wonderful job on our roads, especially during all this winter mess. We just want to say how grateful we are to you. Thank you so much for the great work you do for our community.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Paula.
Yeah, I agree with everything Kim said, and we do tend to brag because we know we have the best public works department.
And it makes it easy for us.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Rick.
Barry?
No, I would say the same thing, and also I commend the administration for negotiating, working with the union to come up with a very fair contract for both the administration and the township and the residents and also the workers of the union. So I'm very happy about that. Thank you.
I'm going to make it easy. You guys are awesome. It's easy peasy. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, guys. Last order on the new business is resolution to re-adopt the township emergency operations plan for 2025. Paula? Oh.
My phone, I don't know what's going on. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Okay, the administration is recommending that the board adopt an updated emergency operations plan as required by the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency. This plan includes a basic staffing chart and updated emergency support, the ESF checklists. These checklists can be utilized by emergency management staff to assist them in their roles should those functions be activated during a disaster or another event. The plan recognizes that Northampton Township is most susceptible to naturally occurring weather events and man-made incidents. If I may make a motion, Mr.
Please.
Chairman? Okay, I move to adopt resolution number R25-4, readopting the Township Emergency Operations Plan and authorizing the Township Emergency Management Coordinator to file the record of adoption with the Bucks County Emergency Management Agency on behalf of the township.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any comments, Paul?
No, I think it's good. We do it, we have to do it, something we have to do, so it's good.
Kim?
I think it's great. We have everything in plan, all set up in case.
Thank you. Barry?
Nope, no comments.
Nothing to add.
Nothing from me. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The plan's adopted. Thank you. Next, we'll go to liaison reports. Kim?
Yes. First, I have the senior center. The new year brings new fun. The Northampton Township Senior Center continues to be a hub for anyone 55 or better. February 14th, the center will be celebrating Love and Friendship Day. Wear red and stop in for a sweet treat. The center is hosting their first Marty Gras breakfast to be held on Tuesday, March 4th. Tickets are $22, and they are on sale at the Senior Center now. On Thursday, March 6th, members and their guests will be attending the Ultimate Elvis Show at the Bristol Riverside Theater. Tickets are going fast. Trip includes lunch at the King George II Inn, $95 for members and $105 for non-members. And if you haven't eaten at the King George Inn, it's very good, very good. I ate there not too long ago. Just added on Friday, March 14th, from 6:30 to 8:30, Parks and Rec is hosting a bingo basket bonanza at the Senior Center. Check our website and social media for more information. New extended hours. Visit the center Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 to 8:30. And now we have Parks and Rec. The Senior Center activities and registrations are now included in the Parks and Rec online registration system. Register for trips, special events, and classes on northamptonrec.com. Registration for the 2025 summer camp opened on January 3rd. Already, the total number of registrations is very close to the number of campers we welcomed in 2024. Many camps have very limited openings remaining and are half-day camp. Registration for our state-certified preschool for the 25-26 school year is now open. There are still limited openings in our 3-year-old classes and in our new full-day kindergarten prep classroom. Contact Barbara Primavera at the Recreation Center, 215-357-5396, to set up a visit today. The next Puzzle Palooza is coming on Friday, February 7th. Race against competing puzzle enthusiasts to win fantastic prizes. A great night to enjoy food, friends, and fun. There's still time to register your team. There are limited openings in upcoming trips. A day out in Ambler featuring lunch and a production of Grace and Glory at Act 2 Playhouse will take place on February 20th. A trip to Foligno Winery featuring a delicious lunch buffet and guided wine tasting experience on Thursday, March 27th. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim.
Paula?
Okay, good. I have a library board report. It's about our strategic plan. Our committee has made a decision on which architect firm that we're going to recommend to our board for the master concept plan and the feasibility study. The library board will vote next month's meeting, which is February 13. Excuse me. The committee also received 5 proposals for a new web design and have begun the review process with interviews coming up in the next few weeks. And our partner, Swell, an acronym, has provided a final branding identity and promise, which the committee has approved. On the 29th of January, we'll be at the library to present, they will be at the library to present 2 or 3 brand packages for us to discuss. And the Parks and Recreation and the library are partnering to provide early literacy training at the Township's preschool. That's a new thing that's going on, which is exciting. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Paula.
Paula.
Bob?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. From the authority, I do have a couple of updates before I touch on the PFAS update that I promised to provide monthly. The Buck Road Bridge Utility Project is anticipated to begin this spring, so heads up. Long term, it's going to be great. Short term, it's going to create a massive traffic problem in that part of town, but it is unavoidable and necessary. The authority has secured a $10 million low-interest loan. Now, of course, I asked the director to define low interest, and I was told that was 1.7%, so that is pretty low. That is a loan related to a project that will control inflow and infiltration, effectively sewer water. The benefit is that the more water that is removed from the system on our end, the less we are paying the county and ultimately Philadelphia to process that same water. So that will hopefully pay for itself in the long term. And then the PFAS issue, I'm pleased to say there are a number of updates. There are effectively 3 prongs that are being looked at right now. There was a phone call today at 1 o'clock with Jonathan Harris. He's the point person from the U.S. Navy. I know some of the board members were able to attend. I was not able to attend, although I did speak with our director after the call late this afternoon. And it's anticipated that shortly a letter will be going out. I know residents have already received letters to this effect. There'll be a letter coming out from Mr. Harris in the coming weeks. And effectively what our residents need to know is that from the Navy perspective, this is being done in phases. There's currently an approved phase in which approximately $6 million are being received from the Navy. That is not for final settlement of any issues. So I want to be clear, this is being done in phases. It's anticipated, although there's some variability because of possibly unanticipated connection problems. At most, that $6 million should realize 70 connections within the township to public water. Phases going forward will remain open. We will continue putting pressure on all fronts there. I'll note that the current detection level that the Navy has set, and I've referenced before that they seem to be selecting arbitrary numbers, is 12 parts per trillion is their current cutoff. It's anticipated that that is a moving number. There's fluidity, no pun intended to that, but at the moment that is the number the Navy has set as the threshold, likely because that will, at least in the first phases, limit the amount of persons who they deem required to be hooked up to public water. So we'll continue monitoring that. And as I said, it is believed that is a fairly arbitrary number. Now, secondarily, through a grant being sought, that the application is due by February 5th and will be submitted, there is, through Penvest, potentially $20 million that will be available in some form. And there is, if that grant is received, and we will put this on the township website, a specific subject area that $20 million would cover. So it was required with specificity to state exactly where that area fell. If you have questions about whether or not you fall in or out of that, please go to the township website, and we're going to post that map. That also is not necessarily a one-time grant, although in speaking with the authority, it seems that if that $20 million is received, it would be a minimum of 12 months for them to hook up the persons in that area. So that would basically fill their time. This is going to be a minimum of a year to do that particular section. In the third prong, we're also looking at MIRIA, M-I-R-I-A, that's an acronym, and this is more to the remediation efforts. There's an approximate cost of $3 million per well to remediate and filter the wells. So if grant money is received under MIRIA, that would go specifically to remediation on given wells, and there are future funds available because obviously filtration systems would need to be replaced, and it's not simply a one and done. So those are the 3 prongs we're looking looking at. I know Chairman Selisker has been heavily involved in the Penvest section of things, so I don't know if you have anything to add on that, but as was promised in prior meetings, and as will continue to be the case, we will put pressure on all fronts and keep the township residents updated as much as is possible about all aspects of the plan to remediate this problem. Created, again, as I mentioned in my earlier meeting, by the federal government. But as everyone knows, and as I was very clear about, they move glacially slowly. So we have to look at other options, and everything is being explored to get this done as quickly as possible.
Bob, I'll just add on. So the idea behind going to Penvest is that we're just not going to wait for the Navy. We're going to look for other opportunities to get ahead into the next phases and get people safe drinking water. It's just that simple. As Bob just pointed out, the Navy is glacially slow. This is their problem. They own it. They created it. But if we have an opportunity to work ahead of them, it's really about getting drinking water. It's not about time. I don't know that we'll ever be able to recoup from the Navy, or that Penvest would ever be able to recoup from the Navy. But if we can save years, I think it's well worth it. I participated in a meeting. I know Supervisor Moore participated in the same meeting. We heard a lot of things today. Just a couple other things, if you don't mind, Bob, I'll add on. Bob talked about the 12 parts per trillion. Now, this is pretty low. That is the Department of Defense level that they arbitrarily picked, as Bob pointed out. The maximum contaminant level that the EPA says is in drinking water is 4 parts per trillion. So the obvious question is, well, if I don't have 12, but I'm above 4, what should I do? And I say, there was a number up there, call Jonathan Harris. He is the contact at the Navy, and he is the guy you need to talk to, and he can tell you about where to get resources or what have you to make a determination whether you feel that you should drink your water or not. It's a horrible situation. They really should be at 4, but they're not, and that machine doesn't move quickly. Just so everybody knows, the Navy will not share with us which properties they're going to hook up and the results of the properties. They claim it to be confidential information, proprietary information. They won't share it with the township. We just don't know, and we put in a lot of political pressure on them. They changed their bottled water policy. Anybody new that comes that is over the 12, they're not giving them bottled water. Out of the gate. There's a process that they can go through to get a waiver, but before, where they were just giving bottled water, they're not doing that now. That's their new policy. It's a DOD policy that came out in September. Again, very difficult for us to fight, but I just want to share the information that we heard. The legacy people that were getting bottled water will apparently continue to get bottled water. It sounds like they'll be able to get started on the project that Bob mentioned in the early spring on that first up to, what did you say, 70?
On the high end, it would be 70 for $6 million.
70 homes.
Obviously, unanticipated cost, or depending on how easily they can hook up to certain areas. They're exploring everything.
This contamination has affected a large part of our township along Bristol Road. It's just unheard of how slow they're moving, and how and we're getting a lot of help. We're getting a lot of help from Congressman Fitzpatrick's office. We're getting a lot of help from Senator Farry and Representative Marcell's office. They are all working hard to put pressure on their agencies to help. The problem is this is so widespread in this country, this PFAS issue. We're just kind of like a pinhead in the problem. And the size of ours is big to us, but small to them. But we are working on it. The board is working on it. We're highly engaged. The Water Authority has been phenomenal. Both the staff at the Water Authority, the Water Authority board, they're really pushing to get this done. So this is a big deal for us. Thanks, Bob.
All right, yeah, thank you. That's all I have.
Barry?
Yes, okay, thanks. The only thing, I was at the meeting also, so was the township manager and the assistant manager. It was a very good meeting in the sense that the people are trying to solve this problem. It's a very bad problem. And one of the things that's very critically shocking to us is that the EPA came out with a standard saying anything above 4 is not good. They couldn't define what that meant, but they said, everything above 4 is not good. But at this point in time, the Navy's saying we're only going to work on projects of 12 or higher. and we saw a list of homes that had 11.8, 10.9, things like that, and we're very concerned that things are not happening. But the good thing is that we are being involved. We're meeting on a regular basis with the Water Authority and also with the Navy. Jonathan Harris was, it's a big problem, but the good thing about Jonathan Harris, he's very responsive. He said, tell your residents to call me. There's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of issues here. Please call me, please email me, and he will respond to you. The other person who's taking responsibility for this is Mike Sullivan. Mike is the new director of the Northampton Municipal Authority. Mike's been very, very responsive. And he said, listen, have people call me directly. So I think when people have concerns about this, a big issue, the best thing to do is contact Jonathan or contact Michael or both. Michael's going to have a meeting, the Municipal Authority will have a meeting in February at the library for all residents to attend. And it'll be an open forum meeting. Anybody's invited to the meeting, and we have as many questions and comments as possible. If you know people that may be in the area, the most important thing is tell the people to contact the township, contact the municipal authority, and have your water tested. Don't take the chance on it. Have your water tested and see where it falls. And if it falls below the the levels, then I think you need to report it to the municipal authority and report it to the Navy so we can have some action on that. So that's the only thing I would ask you. But yeah, it's a very troubling issue, but we're all doing as much as possible to get this thing resolved. And there will be another meeting in February at the library, public meeting for everybody to attend. And Jonathan and Michael Sullivan just couldn't have been more open to people calling them and talking to them about the issue. Just in the other thing with the Planning Commission did meet on January 14th to consider a couple minor projects. The Zoning Hearing Board also met on January 13th to consider a couple minor residential applications. The Planning Commission will be meeting next on February 11th. There's a number of redevelopments, one of which is on Grenoble subdivision there, but not too much activity so far. And the mill race is still out there. I think we'll see that probably the next couple of months. But that's all I have to report, Adam. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Just one quick safety message from me. It's cold. Everybody knows it's cold. The fire department's already responded to its first serious fire for improperly disposed fireplace ashes. I remind everybody every year, and I'll just say it again this year, take your ashes out, put them in a metal can with a lid outside away from the house. They stay hot for up to 14 days. Never put them in a box, never put them in a plastic bag, never put them in a paper bag, and never put them in a trash can in your garage. That's what happened recently, and it was a pretty devastating fire. And unfortunately, this happens once or twice every season. Everybody's in a hurry, and they look at the ashes and they think, okay, they're cool, but they're probably not cool, especially if they're fairly new. 14 days. Keep them outside in that can, then dump them in your garden after that. It'll help your garden with some nutrients. Next up is manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have one item to report. In mid-December, the Bucks County Redevelopment Authority accepted proposals on the township's behalf for the sale of the former police station at 50 Township Road. They received 3 proposals. One of the proposals was non-responsive to the request for proposals, and the proposed purchase price was less than the minimum required by the township. The other 2 were compliant, at least on the surface. And the first is a proposal from BSI Construction, LLC. This proposal wants to convert the existing building and pole barn into a physical therapy and sports rehabilitation facility. The proposed tenant is Petrosky Physio, a sports-focused rehab facility that primarily caters to athletes with a focus on surgery recovery and injury prevention. The proposed purchase price is $940,000, and if you recall from prior discussion and our appraised value, it was appraised at $880,000 by the township's appraiser. The other proposal that was compliant was from Richboro Owners, LLC. This proposal envisions combining the property with the former Courier-Times property on the corner as a, quote, mini town center. And the proposal includes a brewery or brew pub restaurant, a sushi, Japanese restaurant, health facilities, yoga, Pilates, those kinds of things, and a wellness use, a creamery or an ice cream place. And they said other uses that might be permitted by the township's zoning ordinance that complement a town center concept. That proposed purchase price is $900,000. So the administration is going to take some time in the next month or so to review these proposals, to vet them, to perhaps gather additional information from the two proposals that did meet the RFP, and we'll have a recommendation or at least additional information for you at a future board meeting where you can consider authorizing the redevelopment authority to execute an agreement of sale with one of these proposals or proposers. Following that execution of agreement of sale, the process requires whoever the successful proposal is to go through the township's regular land development process. So engineering reviews and whatever every other developer goes through, they would follow the same process and then be back to this board for, as you saw tonight, a land development approval. So just an update on where we are with the process. More to come as we gather more information and vet the proposals for you. Any questions?
Great news. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Assistant Managers report?
Nothing this tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Solicitor Joe?
No report. Just want to thank you all for a reappointment. I appreciate your confidence and look forward to the opportunity to work with all of you and your incredible staff over the course of the upcoming year, and wish all of you and the citizens you represent a happy new year.
Thanks, Joe. Just, we're glad to have you back. Your guidance, your counsel is invaluable to us. Your knowledge and experience is always helpful, and I think it's been great for the residents of this township to have you here.
Thank you.
Engineers, Amanda?
Thank you. I appreciate your support as well. I do hope to have an update at the next meeting regarding the Northampton Crossing Basin retrofit project. We're waiting for the weather to break, obviously. It's a little too cold to start construction now, but we'll hope to have a formal schedule for you soon.
Same comment for you. Thank you. We're glad to have you back. You do a lot of hard work for the
Thank you.
township. We do appreciate everything you've done for
Appreciate it.
everybody that lives here. Dean?
Yes,
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, no formal report, but would like to thank the board for reappointment this year. We look forward to, advancing some of these projects and improving the public welfare.
Thanks very much, Dean. We're glad to have you here. Is there any public comment? No other public comment this evening. With that, no other business. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.